Record turnout for midterm election primaries yesterday. Trump goes 5 for 5 in endorsements so far. What does all this mean? If you've been watching the news all day, it means the Republicans or Trump are done and the blue wave is coming. Is this true? Let's go ahead and look at the numbers. So last night was primary elections in multiple states, a special election in Ohio, and kind of where did all this go? The enthusiasm was there. I know here in our state of Michigan, we had a record midterm turnout. It wasn't as big as 2016, but if you just want to go for the off non-presidential midterm elections, it was the biggest election since the 60s. Over 2.1 million people voted in the election. And if you've been watching CNN and MSNBC and reading the New York Times as I've been today, the Republicans are done. It's just over. The blue wave is coming, and that's all there is to it. Even though Trump, all his endorsements won, all the Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has failed. All of them got blown out. All of this is great news for the Democrats in the blue wave. So I went around and I'm looking at what happened last night, and I'm looking at the news today, and it's just not matching up to me. So I went and I looked at some of the numbers, and let's see where we're going. Where is the enthusiasm? In Michigan, as I said a little bit ago, we had one of the largest midterm elections since the 60s. Ballots were running out in different places. In some counties, 90% of registered voters came out and voted. But what do the numbers show? What actually happened last night? Last night in the state of Michigan, 1.1 million Democrats came out to vote in their primary. What did the Republicans do? That's some great enthusiasm, but what is the Republicans' enthusiasm? Well, the Republicans gained 1 million votes yesterday. We have a 100,000 point difference. And this is in a midterm primary, always having lower. In November, the enthusiasm is going to get ratcheted up even more. And to me, from seeing these numbers and 90% turnout in some areas amongst Democrats, I think this just brings bad news for the Democrats. If you're having 90% turnout and you're barely getting above Republicans in the state of Michigan, or in the case of House District 12 in Ohio, you have what's being reported as a 90% Democratic turnout and only a 50% Republican turnout, and you still lost by 1,000 votes. When they redo that race, the same two people in November, Democrats are going to get smoked. Here in Michigan, it's a little bit different. We're going to have a couple of different things, and we can go into that in a little bit later. But let's look at some numbers from the states that I compiled on Republican and Democrat of all nominees in national races. What did the numbers end up? So, like I said, here in Michigan, the Democrats received 1.1 million votes yesterday, and the Republicans received 1 million votes. In the state of Washington, very heavy Democrat. Democrats outpaced the Republicans almost 2-1, 607,000 to 383,000. In Missouri, Democrats had 605,000 votes. But what did the Republicans do? 663,000 votes. And in Kansas doubled up Democrats, 331,000 to 152,000. So I'm looking at those numbers, and I'm just not seeing the blue wave. You have huge enthusiasm on the Democrat side for that blue wave. But in sheer numbers, they're only matching Republicans. I mean, other than heavy Democrat and heavy Republican states. But Michigan right now is kind of a swing state. And if you look at the maps, it's not even a toss-up. We're leaning blue, and Debbie Stabenow is safe. But when the enthusiasm came out to go vote for our new governor and a Republican senator, the Democrats only managed 100,000 extra votes over the Republicans. And I just don't see that holding up all the way through November. And this is where I really think the Democrats lose on the blue wave. In general, they're running off a hatred for Trump. They talk about Medicaid for all this, $32 trillion over 10 years. It's not going to pass. It's a pipe dream as of right now, unless you want to triple our taxes. And then after 10 years, you're not going to have anything left to tax with, and it's all going to have to start getting cut back down. But, so really all they're running on is Trump hatred. People hate Trump. Everybody is together in hating Trump. Now, I'm sorry if this is your viewpoint and you think that's going to leave you to the blue wave. I don't buy it, because here's the thing. If you hate Trump, you hate Trump right now. You're not going to hate Trump in a month. You're not going to hate Trump in 2 months. You're not going to hate Trump in 3 months when the primaries come. You hate Trump right now. And I'm sorry, I just don't see hate overtaking a majority of independents and moderates and even never Trump Republicans. You're just not going to have the numbers that are built off of hatred. And who are the people that hate right now the most? Who are the people who are most energized? The people who are locked out of last election. The Bernie Sanders supporters who, when Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party rigged that election against Bernie Sanders, there's one fallacy here. It was rigged against Bernie Sanders. But if you look at the vote totals and what happened, Bernie Sanders wasn't going to win anyway. Just like Hillary wasn't going to beat Trump. As much as everybody wants to talk about collusion and meddling, no votes were changed. And you want to know how you can tell Russia didn't hack and change any of the votes? Our voting machines aren't online by law. You can't hack into them. It's paper ballots. And even the ones that are digital are not connected to the internet. There is no way to hack them. This is what I do. I am in IT. You are not going to hack an offline ballot machine. You're not going to hack a paper ballot. That's one of the reasons we keep this low tech, to keep out interference. And if you go back to what Barack Obama said when he told Trump to stop complaining and crying that the election was rigged against him, he said, go out there, because no serious person, and I quote, no serious person could ever think you could do such a thing. But here we are, 2 years later, everybody's saying that it was rigged against him. So, I mean, obviously, if the Russians meddled in the election, this is a failure under Obama's policy. And I know they're trying to pin it on Trump. Trump was a candidate. Trump didn't have any power. Trump couldn't do this. But you guys are going to run on hatred because you believe that Trump colluded with Russia and that Russia gave him the election. And I completely agree with Obama. You can't do it. And then you want to believe another fallacy that Bernie Sanders was going to beat Hillary Clinton if it wasn't rigged. Yes, it was rigged, but again, no votes were changed. And the super delegates, even though all of them went, or a majority of them went for Hillary Clinton, even if all of them went for Bernie Sanders, he still wasn't going to win. So this whole blue wave thing is predicated on a couple of different fallacies. One, that most of the country hates Trump. Even though a lot of people don't agree with what Trump says, there's a lot of people who agree with what Trump is doing. And here's the other part of that. We don't care. If you are a Trump supporter, honestly, you believe that he's saving this nation. And you don't care he lies 7 times a day or anything like that. Or that you want to fact check that, okay, so as an example, there's 20 that Dianne Feinstein had a Russian or a Chinese driver spy, and then they don't want to fact check the fact that what he said was right. They just want to fact check on the time frame, and they say, oh well, he lied because the time frame was wrong. And then when you read that, you go, okay, this is an absolute BS article. And then you go through, go back and read any article about what Trump did in those dossiers, and you'll always find the line, there is no evidence of this, but somebody told me that this is what happened. And that's what all this is predicated on. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. In special elections, Trump is 8 for 9. Republicans are 8 for 9. In the only special election that they lost, the guy was a freaking pedophile. Somehow managed to make it all the way to the general election when this was known. And then, he loses. And didn't even lose by that much. The guy in Alabama barely squeaked that one out. So I just don't see the blue wave. The numbers aren't there to support it. In Texas, everybody's saying Texas is a swing state. Ted Cruz got more than twice as many votes as every single Democrat combined, and they had a record turnout. You're not going to win Texas. You barely win Michigan. And I just don't see it. I don't know where the blue wave is coming from other than one poll. But you know what? CNN keeps feeding it. MSNBC keeps feeding it. They want to talk about moral victories and how it was close in special elections when the Democrats are turning out at 90% and the Republicans are turning at 50%. If you think that is going to hold to November, you're smoking some good stuff, and please pass it over.